So an in-depth look at these 8 items. 5 of them are Anglo-Saxon, Viking, and I believe an Anglo-Norman coin of William the Conqueror. And we also have 2 Thor's hammers and a small, tiny Anglo-Saxon cross. Now, I bought these on the 2nd of August when I went to an event hosted by the Vikings of Middle England. And they was having a Viking reenactment in Cromford, about 10 miles from me. And very kindly my neighbours took me along. And I bought these items for £15, which is £2 a coin, and then these 3 for a fiver. And I'm pretty certain that's not a bad price, really. Now, the coins were struck in front of me at the time, and I find it to be fascinating to watch a person making coins, a moneyer, as we call them. And I saw these 3 items and I thought, well, would you do me those 3 for a fiver? And the guy said yes. A very nice guy, a very skilled craftsperson. And again, when you buy these coins from the Vikings of Middle England group, it actually supports the group, which is really good because Viking reenactment groups cost money to run. So here we have 5 coins, and they're made from pewter and they're double-sided, and I must say, spectacular. Now, the guy told me that the coin dies date back years and years ago, so the very old coin dies, they've been well used. As I flip these coins over so you could see the reverse edge. And if I was a coin expert, I could tell you fundamentally who some of these coins are. Certainly one of them is William, 2 of them are Anglo-Saxon, and then the other 2 are probably 8th or 9th century Viking coins. And of course, money and coins were such a valuable thing. And I absolutely loved these, and I thought I would film a little video, a close-up of them. And perhaps individually I will find out what coins they are from one of my many books. And then I could start doing a series on coins. Now, coins in those times could be cut in half and quartered. So you got half a penny, which is literally a penny cut in half, make 2 half pennies. And then they also used to cut them up and quarter them. Again, that's a fascinating thing. But also these would have been made out of silver. And people would also clip the coins. So what do I mean by clipping the coins? Well, the coins would have been cut round the edge to make the coin smaller, so that somebody very cheekily is reducing the silver amount. And let's say you got 1,000 coins and you clipped every coin, well, you're going to end up with quite a bit of silver. And then we have these 3 pendants. 2 of them are Thor's hammers. And I think they're really nice. They're tiny, they're small. If you compare it to the size of a coin, you can see, as I drop one on the floor, you can see they are quite small. And of course we always think of pendants being really big, like this one here. But some cities, they were in fact quite tiny. In fact, one of the most famous Thor's hammers is the Rectum Thor's hammer. And that is right about that size, which is, again, very, very tiny. And I do have a copy of that as well somewhere, which when I find it, I will film a video on it. So I think these coins are spectacular. He did have a massive basket full of seconds. So sometimes when you're making coins and you're stamping them, you get ones that are not very good. And I did try to buy a load of them off him, but he wouldn't sell me any. And, you know, it would have been nice to have got like 7 for a tenner or even 6. But the ones that are in perfect condition are £2 each, which is probably about the average price of coinage. And I would like to get a large amount of coins to have them in a chest, because I think that would look and be amazing. And I would actually pay somebody to make me some coin dies, because then we could make our own coin and I could sell them through the channel to fund the channel, because let's face it, equipment and items like this all cost money. And it would be nice to have some coins which I could cut in half and quarter to demonstrate that on camera. But let's talk about the simplicity of these Thor's hammers. Now you can see how these are being cast in stone. I think it's an amazing little trick. Now pewter was always considered to be the cheaper option for jewellery. The Vikings and the Saxons would cast things in pewter and give them to their sweethearts as trinkets, because they don't cost so much compared to silver, for instance. And I know Egil used to talk about this, how a lot of pewter items were found compared to bronze and silver, and especially gold, which was very rare. But he said, you know, pewter items were very common because they were very cheap to make. And we can see on this one, this Thor's hammers here, and I hope you can get a better view of it, has a ring and dot pattern. And at some point I may put these on necklaces, or just have them knocking about in a chest. And it is a very nice and stylistic Thor's hammer. Some of them have a flat bottom, some will be more tapered up. And again, it's got the flat side, so you can put a little ring through there, like a chainmail ring, and hang it from a leather cord with a bead. You wouldn't want to have too many beads, because, you know, a bead costs a lot of money, a glass bead. And you see a lot of modern reenactors, including me and Egil, will have a necklace with 20, 30 beads on. It's a modern reenactorism, and we're just competing to see who could have the most beads on a necklace. It's just a internal joke between me and Egil. Now you can see this one has raised little dots on it, on the design element of it. And again, this would have been manufactured in lost wax in one method and cast, or they would have got some soapstone and carved this out into the soapstone, and then continually use that soapstone form to make the Thor's hammers. And I wish I knew where I could get some soapstone from, because I would definitely have a go at carving to cast some of these items. Now let's have a look at the cross. Now there's not much decoration apart from the cross has a circle with more circles around the circle in the centre of the cross. So it's a very basic Anglo-Saxon style cross. Yes, you could probably get away with Norman as well, and because the Vikings would sometimes wear crosses if they was going to Christian lands and there was trading, and as Egil would say, come on lads, put away your Thor's hammers, get out your crosses, and then we can go trading and not be known as Vikings. So they was very clever in that sense. Even to the point when they went to Islamic lands, they would wear Islamic jewellery and even take Islamic names. Again, that's quite fascinating, and I certainly read that in a few accounts of books. Now, whether that's documented in historical texts, I don't know. But I'd love to know your thoughts on that. If you was a Viking, would you take a Christian name and wear a good Christian cross if you was going to trade in Northumbria or Ireland or anywhere that was Christianised? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. And again, let's have a closer look at some of these coins. So I hope the camera picks them up. But the decoration is always amazing on these coins. They're often influenced by Roman coins, but also Arabic coins as well. In fact, some coins have Arabic writing on them, But when you translate the Arabic writing, it's just a mess of letters and with no word, because the Vikings and the Saxons and the other people that copied Arabic coins did not understand or read Arabic. So you'd have an Arabic, a number of letters which would actually mean nothing. It'll just be a jumble of letters. So again, that's quite fascinating within itself as well. And, often they'll have symbolisms of swords. This one has a sword on it, as well as this one here, I believe, is a sword. And sword is, of course, a symbol of power. It means basically that you're showing off your wealth and your power by saying, I'm putting a sword on my face, on my sword, on my coin. And then some of them do have faces. This one is definitely a Christian Anglo-Saxon coin because it has a cross on it. And if I had some glasses, I'll read it. It's got, looks like runic script on it as well. This coin, again, as a symbol of a Thor's hammer. So this is a Viking Norse coin. And also has a symbol of a longhouse. Again, it shows power. It's saying that I've got the money to produce coin. I've got my own realm. I'm a king. And therefore I'm going to put my big longhouse on it and a sword. I think it's a longhouse. And again, this sword is probably more Anglo-Saxon because it's got a cross emblem on it. And on the back, I'm trying to make out what it is on the back. It looks like a hunting scene of a deer, but I can't be certain. I could do with wearing my glasses for these. And this coin, again, it's got letters on it. I mean, I'm not a coin expert, unfortunately. For that, you want a guy called Dave the Moneyer, who could pick these up individually and say, this is off a sword, that's a Viking sword, coin, not a sword, that's a Saxon coin, that's a Northumbrian coin. And of course, different towns also had mints. So there was coins from Derby and from all the 5 boroughs, and anywhere that had a major settlement would have had a moneyer and produced their own coins as well, because coins had to be produced in mass numbers so that they could circulate around the country. But of course, you also have the fact that every 2 years in the Saxon times and the Vikings, you had to take all your coin profit. So if you had a business, a farm, or you was trading, let's say you was a leather goods seller, perhaps you sold swords, every 2 years you have to get all your coin together and take all your profit. So let's say that's your cost and that's your profit, and you'd have to take this to the moneyer first of all, who would remint your coins, melt them all down and remint them. And then what would happen, the moneyer would take 1/3. 1/3 would go to the king in tax, and then the other third and left over 40% would go to you. But as Egil used to say to me, well, if you was a clever Viking or Saxon, you would take your coins to the moneyer and you'll say, actually, when you melt the coins, can you make them into jewellery for me? So you got your coins, your 5 coins. Let's say that's your profit for the year. Well, you're going to lose 3 coins out of that. No, you're going to lose 2 coins. To one to the moneyer, 1 to the king, and 3 for yourself. So I'm not long woken up. So if you said to the moneyer, well, I want you to get those coins and melt them and turn them into jewellery. So your coins have now been melted. You've ended up with this jewellery. What happens then to your tax? Of course, you'd have to probably still give the moneyer something for it. Maybe he will get the leftover residue material from making these, which will probably be worthwhile for him. But fundamentally so, you would end up with 3 lots of pendants, and then you don't have to pay tax on them at all. So tax evasion isn't a new thing. We've been doing it for over 1,000 years, if not more. We've been doing it ever since tax existed. And yes, you know, if you're taking a bag of 1,000 coins and they're all silver and you're converting them into jewellery, you're going to say to the money, all right, you could have those 2 pendants for the cost of doing it, which is probably worthwhile. Or you can give them a few coins out of the bag. But that would also reduce the amount of coins you got to fundamentally pay the king. And that's the main aspect of it. So yes, so the Vikings of Middle England, if you ever see them at an event, go and say hello to them. They have a wonderful blacksmith called Wieland Smithy, that's Wieland, who makes some spectacular stuff. And at some point in the next few months, I'm going to order a few items from him, because he's got some really lovely medieval maces. I don't really own too many of them that are really authentic. And there's another guy that does the coin stamping, and if you speak to him, he will make you a set of coins for £10, which I don't think is bad at all, because online you're paying £4 to £6 a coin on eBay or Etsy, so that's really quite good. In fact, if I go next year, I'll buy some more off him. And I did record some videos, but I just not got around to doing anything with those videos yet. And hopefully it won't be too sunny. So hope you've enjoyed this in-depth look at these items, and this video has been valuable to you. It's not been scripted. I don't have any keywords. I'm just speaking from the top of my heart and my head. And you know, whenever you make these videos, you always say a few things you make a mistake on. It's the nature of the beast. And at some point, when I do some more investigation, and I do own quite a lot of coins, I've probably got about 50 to 100 Anglo-Saxon and Viking coins, including some Anglo-Norman ones. Boo! But then again, we've got to respect and like the Normans, because William the Conqueror was such a fascinating character. And I think one of these coins is a William the Conqueror coin. Let's have a look for that. So that's Viking. That's Anglo-Saxon. I'm not sure about that one. That's probably Viking. So this one here most probably is a William the Conqueror coin, because it's got his face on it. And it's quite amazing. Do you reckon, when you look at some of the faces, you can actually recognise from the portraits of the time the individual who they are. And considering that these coins are really small, that's quite an amazing feat, really. And I'd love to have a go at actually making some coin dies in the future. That's something I could think about on my forge if I buy the right material. So do like the video and do say hi in the comments, and it's goodbye from me.